I'm Cheyenne Rain, and welcome to the LarpHouse. The very first thing I want to do is thank you guys so much because we have reached a milestone goal on our Patreon page. I never really know what to say at times like this, except, oh my gosh, my mind is constantly blown by all of you. Thank you so much for your support and your incredible patience while I attempt to survive my life. That sounded worse than I meant it, but seriously, in addition to keeping LarpHouse running, you are making that survival notably easier, so thank you. I have also set up an entire separate email address and inbox for business inquiries and questions so that your emails don't get lost in the abyss. That email address is in the description. I'll also probably put it here? Put it here. But moving on, actual video content now. I have been working this week on making a tutorial about how to make the Game of Thrones style cloaks out of the cheap IKEA rugs, because how could I not, really, after they released that wonderful nugget of knowledge that the costume designers used IKEA rugs for a lot of the Game of Thrones clothes. I love the world. But in the meantime, I wanted to kick off the makeup tutorials that I am doing based on your character concepts. Which, in case you didn't know, you can submit your character concepts on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter using the hashtag LHshowme, and I will periodically pick one of them and do a makeup tutorial based on it. Meaning that I will be showing you how I would do the makeup based on your character if I wanted it to stand the test of a LARP weekend. People of color and the menfolk need not worry. Should I pick one of your character concepts, I will bring someone in with a face like yours, if it's necessary. This week I am doing a tutorial based on a submission by ZCake on Twitter, which is going to be a succubus posing as a vampire. But this stood out to me, not only because the picture is really cool, I love the drawing, but also because I already happen to have the perfect wig, and it was a really fun, sort of corrupted beauty makeup to do, so. I got the wig on Wish. The link to that will be in the description. I will put a picture here. The deal might have run out by now on this specific one, but if you find another Wish listing that has this picture, hopefully it'll be the same product. So, without further ado, let's get a little demonic. Before we really get into it here, you might notice that I already have the wig applied to my skull. The reason for that is that the first segment of this tutorial footage was dropped, but not to worry, what I'm going to do instead is link you guys to a tutorial that I highly recommend all about lace front wigs, what they are, how to apply them, how to make them look relatively nice. And so with that out of the way, let's start. What you see me doing here is applying my foundation with a beauty blender, which is a fancy makeup sponge. You soak it in water, wring it out a little bit, and it blends foundation really nicely into your skin. The foundation that I'm using is called Dermacol. It's sort of crazy, it's waterproof, it's meant to cover up tattoos for film and TV. It's a really durable foundation. The links to every product that I use will be in the description of this video, and if the link happens to be an Amazon link, using it will help LarpHouse out at no additional cost to you. But that being said, I have not actually been paid to promote any of these products. I bought all of them myself, no free samples, I am just showing you my favorites. So once I applied all the foundation and I once again look like the ghost of Christmas dress dreams, I am going to go in with a little bit of contouring. I am using a really neutral gray pressed powder from Sephora as my contour color, but I wouldn't worry too much about what brand your powder comes from as long as it is this neutral gray, kind of dead looking color. Because this is a demon posing as a vampire, we're not exactly going for the sun-kissed glow that you usually go for in a beauty makeup. The Sephora brand just happens to be what I had lying around. And if you are not accustomed to contouring, what I'm really doing is adding depth to the places where your face would be sunken in if you were sort of sickly and pale and almost skeletal. And that is why I am also adding shadow to the tops of my eyelids and brow bone area, you know, where the hollows of the eyes would be on a skull, and then also under the jawbone. This is not exactly your average beauty makeup, folks. And then with a much smaller brush, a little eyeshadow brush, I'm taking the same contour color and I'm going to go in along the hairline to create a sort of blend. This is a trick that I use and that people who are beginners with lace front wigs can use if they don't want to put in a lot of work to make the hairline look natural. This is a pretty easy way to sort of fudge it. If you do want to learn how to make a lace front wig hairline look really natural without this blending method, there are a lot of tutorials on YouTube already that will give you a pretty good idea, and I'll be putting out my own eventually. That sort of teaches you the tricks that I use on lace front wigs specifically for LARP. But for now, for this character, I was pretty happy just using the eyeshadow brush with that same contour color and bringing the color into the roots of the actual wig hair a little bit and blending it down onto my forehead a little bit with the Beauty Blender. And now I am moving on to my eyebrows. I use Wonder Brow on my eyebrows just about every day. It's a liquid eyebrow sort of paint. You put it on with an angled flat brush, but it is very much a LARP-worthy product. It lasts quite a long time and I'm very impressed with its durability. But if you don't have Wonder Brow, or if you don't want to order Wonder Brow, I would also recommend using alcohol-based makeup, specifically Skin Illustrator colors. I have raved about alcohol-based makeup for LARP before on this show. I have a whole tutorial about painting scars and wounds with it. Alcohol-based makeup is actually more durable than Wonder Brow would be, but it's a little more expensive to make that initial investment for the alcohol-based makeup palette. The advantages to having the palette are obviously you have an entire palette so you can mix whatever color you want, and like I said, it will be more durable. If you do not usually do your brows, it can take some sort of experimentation to find out what shape works well for your face. Some advice that I can give you right away though that's just pretty good overall advice is to remember, if you want to look younger, make your brows fuller. Remember that eyebrows are sisters, not twins. And when you are doing the outer tail of your eyebrow, try to make sure it doesn't point directly downward. Try to think of it more as a wing than a curve down. And advice for people who don't want to do beauty makeup, who just want to change their hair color with a wig and make her eyebrows match, I would still recommend doing a dark base and fill in your eyebrows, and then brush on a liquid color that matches your wig color on top of it. We will go over that more here in a minute because I am doing exactly that for this. And trust me, even if you don't want to do any other makeup on your face, please take care of your eyebrows. They are arguably the most important feature on your face, and I say that because messing your eyebrows up is the most surefire way to make yourself look very weird very quickly. Look at pictures of celebrities without their eyebrows if you don't believe me. Nightmares. And now that I'm happy with the base shape of my eyebrows, I am going to go in with my Mayron Paradise paint in silver. It's a water-activated makeup. I always have a spray bottle full of water handy in my makeup kit, so I just activate it by spraying a little water in it and brush it very lightly onto the hairs of my brows. Possibly use a couple small brush strokes towards the center of the brow to add a couple fake hairs. Like so. And you can see how the silver on top of the darker color adds a whole lot more depth and keeps the definition of your brows rather than just brushing some silver onto your eyebrow hairs. Amazing. And so once that is pretty much done, I'm going to start highlighting my face. I'm going to be using the Kat Von D Alchemist palette. I really love the iridescent colors that it has. And I usually use the combination of the blue and the purple color when I want to give a character a really unearthly, unnatural, kind of eerie glow. I'm doing that along the most prominent part of the cheekbone, a little bit up this side of the temple, a little bit on the top of the brow bone, teensy bit on the cupid's bow of the lips, and you have got an instant creepy blue iridescent sheen. Now that I've got the basics of my skin tone down, I'm going in with the magical alcohol-based makeup that I talked about earlier, the Skin Illustrator palette that I love. And before I do any more eye makeup or lips or anything, I am going to use this to create the creepy, corrupted veins around my eyes and forehead. So alcohol-based makeup requires 99% alcohol in order to activate it. It's almost like using a watercolor palette, but instead of water, you use 99% alcohol to activate your colors. And it must be 99%, not 91%, otherwise you are going to have difficulties. And what you see me doing here is mixing up the color for the blue-toned veins. Even blue-toned veins have a little bit of red in them. They're a little bit purple-toned. So keep that in mind. But I'm using the alcohol to make the pigment really thin and sort of watered down. You want it to be not very highly pigmented, because having the really subtle color gives it the illusion that the veins are sitting under your skin. So the key to doing vein work is to make it fairly subtle. And here is where a little bit of reference is going to go a very long way, because I find a very common problem when people are doing vein work is that they treat it almost like clip art of a lightning bolt. Straight lines at very odd angles, when in reality, both lightning bolts and veins behave a lot more like fibers. There are very few straight lines. They go kind of all over the place, and it sort of just looks like wet yarn. Okay, sorry about that. My vein rant is over. Now I am going in with a more red-purple tone and doing pretty much the same thing. I'm keeping the veins concentrated around my hairline and under my eyes, but if I really wanted to be kind of gnarly and more sort of monstery looking, more corrupted, I should say, I would put a lot of them around my mouth, a lot of them sort of down my neck. But you know, we're keeping it a little subtle since this succubus is supposed to be slightly incognito. And the cool thing about doing these veins in alcohol-based makeup is that theoretically they will stay on a lot longer than my eyeshadow or lipstick or anything else would, so it kind of is more realistic in that way. And once I'm relatively happy with my vein work, I'm gonna go ahead and start priming my lips and my eyelids with, I'm using Wonder 2 Prime and Behold. It's this fancy holographic primer that's supposed to help things be waterproof. Basically, I'm all about using as much as I can to make this makeup stay on as long as humanly possible, because LARP is rough on makeup jobs. But at least now you can kind of be assured that the hard part of the makeup is over. I'm just doing eyeshadow and lipstick now. I am using the Naked Heat palette from Urban Decay, but it's really just a lot of terracotta orange tones. And I picked these red-orange tones because I wanted to add even more to the sort of sickly and corrupted feel of this makeup. Even though it's a beauty makeup, it's still a demon. So I'm just going from a very subtle orangish color to a very deep terracotta pot color, basically. Getting really dark in along the crease, a little bit under the eyes. I like to have one brush that is for applying the pigment and another totally separate clean brush that is just for blending. Please blend. Now I had to take a break for the camera to cool down, and while I took a break I got a little bored and applied some very small fake lashes just to the outer edge of my lashes. This is a totally optional thing. There are some pretty great tutorials on YouTube about how to apply fake lashes, but really small on the outer corners tends to be all I can handle for LARP as far as fake lashes go. I'm not a fan on the day-to-day basis. And all I'm really doing now that I've got those dark lashes in is really intensifying those oranges more to make them pop, because I really want this almost like I have been crying a lot, don't mess with me, I'm very unstable kind of demonic look. And now that I've more or less got that down, I'm going to add just a little bit of eyeliner to the waterline, which, for those of you who don't know, is that teeny tiny gap between your eyelashes and the actual jelly of your eyeballs. Like that little bit of skin there. Which looks kind of horrifying if you've never seen someone put it on before, but I promise if you use a very soft eyeliner pencil or one of those retractable eyeliner pencils, it's really not bad. And it does help a lot to define the shape of your eye, so for me personally, it's worth it. Now it's mascara time, but rather than tell you some $40 mascara you should buy, I'm gonna give you this tip. If you buy any 2 different types of waterproof mascara from a drugstore, you put one on, wait for it to dry but not completely, and then put the other one on. For some reason, that usually causes them to build off of each other really nicely and give you really long lashes that are waterproof. I don't know why. And now, finally, the lips. I am putting on another coat of the Wonder 2 Prime and Behold that I was talking about earlier, just to have a sort of not completely dried coat before I put on my Kat Von D Liquid Matte Lipstick in the color Outlaw. As far as how to get a really nice lip line, there's not a lot I can tell you besides practice, and start with a little X on your Cupid's bow like this. That really helps you make those even. Other than that, it really is just practice. The Kat Von D Liquid Matte Lipsticks are the best quality liquid lipsticks that I have found from a makeup designer that I actually support ethically. You will want to put at least 2 coats on of the lipstick if you use this Wonder 2 Prime and Behold. It's definitely worth it though. The primer really helps this lipstick stay on through the test of LARPing, which is to say, eating, drinking, ripping throats out with your teeth. This is your best bet for keeping it on. And now, because my camera dropped the last 10 minutes of footage, it's a bit of a princess when it overheats, and we had a really long filming day on this day, so just bear with me. But that sideburn there that you see is actually my real hair that I have let peek out under the wig, and I just blended it by putting that silver paradise paint that I used on my eyebrows on my sideburn and blending it up into the actual hairs of the wig, and that ended up working just really nicely. The only other thing that is missing from the footage is me putting a slightly orange shimmery powder from the Naked Heat palette on top of my Kat Von D liquid lipstick. So other than that, you have seen absolutely everything that you need to see to create this wonderfully unique LARP character look. There you go, that's a thing you know now. And here's another thing you should know. The featured LARPer of this episode is the aptly named Angel of the YouTube channel GD Art. I say aptly named because her beautiful, angelic voice could put me happily into an enchanted sleep for 100 years. Her channel has some videos about tabletop RPGs like Dungeons & Dragons, but also some tutorials about how to craft miniatures for tabletop games. And let me tell you, I'm obsessed with miniatures. Like, I spent a year in my pretentious higher arts education studying miniatures. I hung out in the museum close to my pretentious art school because the museum had an entire floor dedicated to miniatures, and watching her channel is definitely enabling that obsession. So maybe that is just a Cheyenne thing and not an everyone thing, as many things tend to be, but she has started vlogging her adventures as a little baby newbie LARPer. And I think those vlogs are important because she's very honest and open about her struggle with social anxiety that many of us also struggle with, including me when I first started. No small number of my viewers, you guys, have expressed that you also have social anxiety. So I think it would be great for you to go and watch her videos, because watching her have the social anxiety, push through it, go to a game, and then just discover that it was so worth it for her personally, it's really inspiring to watch. So check it. Or just check it out for the privilege of listening to that heavenly voice, because wow. And if you would like to be a featured LARPer on this show, just follow the LarpHouse on social media. Links in the description. Because if you write stuff, sing stuff, make stuff, or do anything innovative with LARP of any kind, I would love to show you off. Y'all are really cool people. And there's one more bit of news. As you guys may or may not know, I was planning on going to Convention of Thorns, which is the crazy, amazing vampire LARP run in yet another Polish castle by DZIOBAK Studios. But I was going to wait to go to Skull and Crossbones, the insane pirate LARP run on actual pirate ships, and I think the Baltic Sea, because, you know, budgeting is a thing. Moving to a new country, there's some medical bills, I have to take care of my cats, all of that. But I got a Facebook message from one LARP princess of the internet, Momo of freaking Brian, and plans have changed. So I am finally gonna get to game with her, and I am going to help film our swashbuckling adventure. So, links to both of those events will be in the description. And that's all I have for you this week, my nerds. Thank you so much for watching. We love you, we cherish you, and if you have any questions, comments, or emotional outbursts, please feel free to message us. We're on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, and Instagram. And don't forget, use the hashtag LHshowme to submit your character designs for a possible makeup tutorial. So as always, nerds, like us, subscribe to us, fight with us.